Welcome to the boss fight! It's Megaman versus the Bond Pirate family in the Balcon Gelede. This first part of the fight is all about endurance. Make sure that you shoot down all the torpedoes and the missiles that are launched at you. There's no way you're going to be able to hurt the Balcon Gelede at all. Not even if you fire the powered buster. If Roll's health is below halfway, retreat, because then her health will be restored, and you'll have an easier time in the fight. If you're not too good at this game, this would also be another good time to save, so you don't have to go through the fight with a Bond's miniature ships ever again. Make sure you also restore your health and weapon energy too. While the powered buster might not be very good for the combat with small ships, it becomes really invaluable during the boss fight. Specifically when you get to the second phase. If you chose to stay behind and fight, Roll would have placed all her trust in Megaman and done the same thing upcoming here. Run away to a small river that pours into the Lake Jyun. As Roll retreats, make sure you shoot down any missiles that are fired, because it's going to play a big difference for the second phase of the boss fight. Check that out, that's a missile fail right there. Some of the missiles will miss you, but that doesn't give you an excuse not to shoot them down. Upcoming right here, Roll's gonna hit the sides of the river, but it's not gonna damage the boat at all. Don't worry. Just pay attention to the missiles. I debated on and off with myself whether I should tell you guys about this, but there exists a harder difficulty level, which makes boss fights a lot harder. Don't even get me started about it. Back then when I played it as a kid, it made blood shoot out of my eyes. Once you've reached this open lake, this is your cue for a counterattack with a powered buster. The Balcon Gelede will have two other attacks, firing a shockwave at you, and also shooting turrets from behind it. The Bonds will still shoot missiles from the head of the Balcon Gelede, so be sure that you shoot them down when you have the chance. But once you reach this spot, this is where the powered buster really shines. Not anymore, you don't. Teasel's gonna pay for his overconfidence by raising the deadly weak spot on the Balcon Gelede. If you let it fire, it'll shoot a laser that'll hurt you. Just keep firing the powered buster, and you'll finally defeat the Bonds.
Status report!
This is the engineer reporting. Our engines are completely offline. There's flooding in the main hull. The build pumps aren't working. There are fires in blocks 2 and 3. They're being sealed off.
Teasel, I hate to admit it, but she's not gonna last much longer.
It's bad. Sir, you've got to get out of here.
All hands! Abandon ship! I'm sorry, Tron, after you went to all the trouble to make us such a magnificent robot. What can I say?
Cheer up, Diesel. Don't worry. We'll go back to the ship and come up with a new plan.
Yeah, that's it. That's the spirit. Thanks, you two. Now, I couldn't have asked for a better brother and sister than you. We'll get that blue boy next time for sure.
I don't understand. Even though he got the better of us again, I don't feel the least bit angry. Why is that?
It's because I love him so much. Anyway, here you are. The Lake Jyun Subgate. Don't forget to save, because you're not going to want to go through that boss fight again. Don't forget to recharge your life as well as your special weapon energy. You're going to need it for the upcoming ruins. Whenever you're ready, head up to the Subgate entrance and press circle. I decided to keep the Powered Buster with me for a bit longer to show off its capabilities even more. Initially we're going to only go so far because there's a valuable item that I want to obtain before we actually get the refractor from the ruins.
I should be able to access this battle from here too.
This also contains a useful grinding spot for money. I'll tell you about it when we get there. However, it's a really difficult place to grind if you don't have the proper equipment. So make sure that you have the proper equipment and you're really good at the game, because otherwise, you're going to waste your time there. Feel free to either ignore or waste the Zakobans with your Powered Buster. I decided to keep the Powered Buster around just for a little while longer, because just using it in a sniper fight with the bonds didn't really do it any justice. All of my basic weapons have been powered up to the max. So this involves the machine gun, the Powered Buster, and the blade arm. They're really powerful once you've fully leveled them up. This subgate also contains entrance to the portal ruins, specifically the area that had that yellow-looking wall. We still don't have the proper equipment to take them down, but we still have one item that we can get from them. There's also another item that'll be useful in making the jet skates for Megaman. Just go down this hallway to the right and open the chest. There's the old hover jets. Now when you go back to roll, she'll be able to make the jet skates, which will function as the dash. They'll be really useful in shortening the travel time. You remember these Gurus from the portal ruins, don't you? Simply keep shooting them to flip them over onto their back. Either ignore them or destroy them. I suggest you destroy them anyway, because you'll get a lot of money for destroying them. You can either use the Buster technique that I showed you, or otherwise use the Powered Buster to take him out. A fully maxed out Powered Buster will flip him over onto their back in one shot, and then damage them quite a bit. Simply dodge them by either jumping out of their way or just running around them. Be on the lookout for Furu Reaver bots. They'll basically home in on you and attack you. The item we're looking for is in the center of this room, right here.
I'm not picking up anything on my monitor. I don't
On the ground floor of this room are stealth Sharakurusu Reaver bots. Be careful about fighting them on the floor. Inside this treasure box is the joint plug. It's a very useful item that'll let us out on one more buster part. So I decided to head back to Roll and have her develop the items for us. With these two items, the joint adapter and the jet skates, you're fully prepared to take on the remaining Reaver bots inside and take the refractor inside. Don't forget to equip the jet skates, otherwise you're not going to be able to use them. There's also more controls for the jet skates as well. You can also slow down by holding back on the D-pad, using it as a brake. And you can also turn left and right with the R1 and L1 buttons. And I decided to showcase another weapon, the blade arm. Because you hadn't seen that yet, and it's really cool looking. Unfortunately, it has a limited use, so be careful on what you use it for. With that, I decided to head back to the ruins. Now make sure that you also equip a third part for your buster. I recommend that you equip Power Razor Alpha, because all that attack power is going to be really valuable for shooting down all these Reaver bots inside that are pretty tough. Especially if you're facing off against the stealth Sharakurusu Reaver bots. Once you get back to the room where there were a lot of Gurus, head down to the right, close to the northern door, and you'll find another door which leads to the very same entrance that the joint plug was in. But before you enter it, there's also a hole that contains another item that's specifically for Roll. Might as well tell you what it is. It's a ring. You don't get to see it at all. So that's pretty much another item that'll make Megaman a good boy. Look out for the Furus on the left paths. I don't know why they did this, but the developers must have thought it would be a great idea if we had two paths leading to the same place. See, now that you equip Power Razor Alpha, it's a lot easier to destroy the Gurus. Quicker, too.
What did you find? From these readings, it
There's the
looks
first
like
starter key for the refractor that we're gonna get.
there's a refractor in here somewhere. Good luck.
You'll just only have 2 more to go. That's the Gatling part. It's gonna be very useful for another buster upgrade. You're gonna need 1 more part in order to actually use it. But we're not gonna get that until much later. There are 2 areas left that we can go. First, take the left path. After jumping on this pillar, go to the west, and you'll find a treasure box with a starter key and another hole that contains some money. Now we just have one more item to get in this room, and it's on the eastern side of the room. It's another starter key. Except this time we're gonna have to go through that door you saw earlier. Well, whenever you're fighting the stealth Sharakurusu Reaver bots, just make sure that you circle strafe while shooting the Mega Buster. It's just not worth using your blade arm on them unless you're up really close. All the Sharakurusu Reaver bots will do are basically hit and run. They're not as aggressive as the other Sharakurusu Reaver bots from the Carden Forest ruins. These Reaver bots are one part of the reason why I suggest that you add on the Power Eraser Alpha Buster upgrade. Furu Reaver bots are also floating around in this room, so be careful of where you jump. Another good idea in this room is if you're facing the stealth Sharakurusus, is just to use the L1 or R1 button to look around and also fire the Mega Buster. It's sort of a safety measure that you take in order to make sure that they're not ramming into you or going to run toward you. Normally I'd cut out backtracking, but upcoming in just a little bit, I'm going to be showing you the function of the jet skates. Now he probably looks like he's a bit constipated or something, but hey, the jet skates are still cool. All you need to do is just walk over to this section of the wall and open the chest, and the starter key is yours. Now you only have one more room left. And the final room of this area is actually going to be a bit difficult if you stay around there for too long. It's the grinding spot that I mentioned earlier. I know right here I just derped, and I could have saved a lot of time by just going straight for the room ahead. But no, I decided to stick around and fight the Sharakurusu Reaver bots again. Or at least one of them. Upcoming right here, you're gonna see just how deadly they can be. See, it took out nearly a third of my health. Take this as a lesson on why you should pick your battles in the ruins. Especially if they're with a lethal enemy like Sharakurusu Reaver bot.